Two. One, two, three.
Tonight we have a very special Josh Youth Fest performance, obviously by the Excelsior Band. But I'd like to introduce our MC for the evening and our wonderful partner from the White Youth Coalition, Willie Dennis III.
That's one. Thank you, Ron. Let's give another round of applause to the Excelsior Band. Good evening, everyone. My name is Willie Dennis III. I am the co-director and co-creator of the Jazz Art Writers South Festival, which we call Jaws Fest. And we welcome you to Jaws Fest 2024. I'm going to kind of scroll through my notes here as we go to our theme, is the future of jazz 2024. This year, we have done some different items in our programming. We are very, very excited to have had a fantastic response from our community, and this is where everything kind of comes together and we celebrate and we reward those for those that have done a great job. So we're grateful for the Excelsior Band being here. We're grateful for y'all being here this evening. And so let's go ahead and get right into everything. And we've already had Lorraine Flanders, so we want to be sure to thank Lorraine for her time. Thank you so much, Lorraine, for your support. This is a library-based program, and we're very, very proud to be a part of this organization and partner with them to be able to get these events to happen. So They're fantastic partners, and if you need to do something here at the Marks Library, definitely be talking with Mark Loreen and Paula Webb, my event partner. Again, my name is Willie Dennis III. I'm the co-director of the Jaws Fest. We're going to go ahead and get right into this thing. We want to thank our sponsors. We have a lot of sponsors to thank, and you'll have to forgive me because this is not really a speech. This is just kind of like a long, long list of thank yous. So that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to be thanking everyone for their help and support. So we want to make sure to thank our sponsors for their support. Thank you so much. And that includes USA Libraries, Art Galleries, Mobile Arts Council, Amp Up Arts, the Mobile Art Association, the Boys and Girls Club of South Alabama, and the USA Student Government Association. Those are our festival partners. We also want to be sure to thank our gallery artists, which I believe some of them are here this evening, starting with Brian Argo. Brian, are you here tonight? Brian's here. Let's give him a round of applause. Brian's exhibit is on the first floor in the gallery hall. We want to thank him for his excellent work that he's done there. We also have Scott Bruce on the first floor in the gallery hall. You'll see his exhibit there opposing Brian's exhibit. And then on the second floor, we have the Living Poetry exhibit, which I've been waiting for a long time. It's on the second floor of the Marks Library, and it features Spoken Word in Mobile. Now, if you don't know Spoken Word in Mobile, they're a poetry collective that's been in existence for just over 20 years. They are an awesome group of people, and they meet every third Monday consistently every month at the Tolmanville Library. So if you'd like to learn more about them and like to check out that exhibit, you are welcome to check that out on the second floor. We have some things that we're going to be putting into that exhibit ongoing to the Jaws Festival. I also want to make sure to thank our Jaws Youth 2024. This year we have had an astounding amount of response. We have 219 artworks on the third floor in the gallery, so that deserves a round of applause, everyone. That's an amazing response. In the past couple of years, we've had around 50 or so total in our collection. So to have 219 is an outstanding response. And that is due to some of our instructors and our partnership with Mobile Arts Association and the Arts Council. And of course, I'm going to nod my head to one of our other very important members here in just a second. Next, I want to make sure to thank our event partners. We have Jaws Fest over several different locations. That is because the festival is growing. We have been blessed to have an opportunity to have some additional event partners. So we, of course, are here at USA Libraries Art Galleries. The gallery is available from now until the June 20th, which is when we'll be closing our festival. We'll be closing our festival, though, at Laidlaw Performing Arts Center, which is one of our event partners. We had a concert there in April, and we have several other concerts coming up in the series. So please be sure that you get a chance to check out our website and find out our event schedule. Laidlaw Performing Arts is basically my building. That's where I graduated as a student here. So I'm always happy to see and come back to home. So it's very near and dear to my heart. We also have a great partnership with Mobile Public Library. If you do not know, this exhibit will leave this building and it will begin to tour the Mobile Public Libraries all across the county. So that's 14 different locations. That means that your child's exhibit could be on display at any point in time for the next 6 months, the next 7 months. And we're very, very pleased to have that partnership with MPL. They are a fantastic partner, and we want to make sure to thank them up front this year. They've been doing great work with that. So next I want to thank our performers and hosts. As again I mentioned, our festival is growing, and so we have a long laundry list of performances. If you've been to our website, you've seen we have a lot of performances on the schedule. So I want to make sure to thank those people in a very generous way here. So first we have the Sound Barrier. The Sound Barrier is our performer for Jazzy Lunch. And he's going to be he's our featured player every Wednesday at 12 noon to 1 o'clock in room 181. We've had the Sound Barrier. And I've got an error on my presentation here because we didn't get our pictures from Angry Nanny, but we did have a fantastic presentation yesterday from Angry Nanny. They were a special guest here, and they did a Jazzy Lunch performance for us yesterday. That was one of a kind. And I absolutely promise you, if you missed it, you missed something great, okay? It was really, really quite awesome. The next thing I want to make sure to thank is our members of our spoken word and poetry communities. Every other Tuesday, just about or so, we have a jazz, stories, and poetry session. And that's to celebrate the long-lived connection between jazz and poetry. And we also include our writers segment in that. So if you are an author, those are opportunities for you to be able to come out and express yourself, show what you can do, and especially if you love poetry, we want to see you there in the place. Our next poetry session is going to be May 21st, which will be next Tuesday at 6 o'clock p.m. And that is kindly sponsored by the University of South Alabama Department of English and the Department of Modern and Classical Languages and Literature. We are very, very pleased for their sponsorship and getting those events to happen. We do have some other performances, as I mentioned, so upcoming very, very soon, June 6th, Thomas Jackson will be presenting in this room, A Night of Mississippi Blues, and that will be at 6 p.m. here on June 6th. Please come out and enjoy that. It's going to be a fantastic, intimate concert. He's got something very, very special to share, and a great, I think it's going to be a really, really great time, actually. And then we'll have our closing celebration with Andrew Ayers and Friends. And that's going to be at Laidlaw Performing Arts Center, which I might have mentioned a little bit earlier. That's going to be at 6 p.m. on June 20th, and that will close out our festival. That'll be our closing celebration. All right, and then I want to make sure to thank our board members who have been working very hard to execute everything. All the different department chairs that we've been involved with, we have to go and ask for permission, ask for assistance, and they're very, very generous with those things. We're definitely appreciative of every single corner of this library because we get things that other people don't always get access to. And of course, let me rephrase that everyone gets access to, but they don't know that they can access it. Let me put it that way. And then the student workers and our support teams, I want to make sure to thank every single last one of you. I am so very appreciative of your time, appreciative of your support, and every single minute that it takes to pull this thing off. And of course, our volunteers, and it takes a mountain of volunteers to pull this off. We are very, very appreciative. So thank you all so very, very much. I also need to give a very special thank you to our technical coordinator, our technical services coordinator, Grace Richardson, who is actually not here tonight. She was on our team for Jaws Fest 2022 and 2023, and now she is running our website and actually built our brand new Jaws Festival website. She is running that all by herself. So we are very, very grateful to her. If you've been to the site, you know it's an awesome experience. I want to make sure to thank her in a very generous and public way. So thank you so much, Grace. We love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you much. Now, another invitation we have coming up, which is our opening ceremony. We've already planned for next year. So May 15th, 2025 is our opening ceremony. We'll be celebrating our theme, The Ladies of Jazz, for 2025. So be ready, get ready to see a lot of exciting artwork, and we've already lined up our premiere artists in the Rodney Gallery for 2025. All right, so now we're going to be thanking our participating schools. I'm going to take a minute to just thank everybody for their time. Let's give a round of applause for all of them. Thank you. Thank you so very, very much. As I said, this is a long list of thank yous. We had a fantastic response to our opportunity to create and participate with the Jaws Youth Program this year. This is very, very important to me. It's very, very vital to what our efforts are at the festival, because we want to be able to connect in a non-violent, public, and engaging way with students and give them an opportunity to express themselves. And this is our commitment to be able to do that. So it's very, very important to us. It's very, very key. We're going to try to grow this a little bit more next year. So you never know, we might be in your school next year. But this year we had Excel Academy and Barton Academy, Chastain Fournier, K-8, and Dunbar Magnet School, Indian Springs Elementary School, and Little Flower. Please do clap if you're here. The Heart of Mary School, the Sacred Heart of Mary School, and Viger High School. And then we have 3 Boys and Girls Clubs participate. We usually have these 3 classic Boys and Girls Clubs participate, but we want to make sure to appreciate them again. And that is Bernard Malcove Campus, Kiwanis Campus, and the Sonny Callahan Boys and Girls Club. So let's give them all a round of applause. And we want to make sure to thank you all for your participation, and congratulations to everyone that participated in the Jaws Youth Program this year. I'm very, very excited, and I could not be more pleased about seeing 219 pieces of art. You guys don't know, but when it comes in, it's just like we're getting slapped. We're just getting just everything. We're seeing it all. It's just more excitement than we can basically take. So it's a fantastic, fantastic opportunity. All right, and now we're getting to the good stuff. All right, so I have a special message here. Usually Sonika Edwards-Bush joins me up here, but she could not be with us tonight. So I have a special message here from our Sonika Edwards-Bush is our artistic lead for the Jaws Youth Program. She helps us to get everything coordinated, helps us to pick and decide on schools and expand our program. We're very, very pleased to be partnered with her. So she does say that she's proud of each and every one of you, and congratulations. And since Tonika can't be here with us tonight, I'd like to go ahead and ask Katie Thompson to come up. Katie, we can give Katie a round of applause. Katie was our instructor at Barton Academy. She is a visual artist, and we are very, very pleased to have her as part of our team. She helped us get a response of about 80 canvases from Barton Academy. 80 canvases? Let's give her a round of applause. That was an awesome effort. All right, so let us get to our JAWS Youth Awards. And Katie, they should be lined up first, second, third, I think in reverse order, so they'll go 3, 2, 1. All right? So the JAWS Youth Program, come on in, folks. The JAWS Youth Program is open to public voting. We've had this public voting since we've had the JAWS Festival. That was done by QR code in the past 2 years, and then this year we dropped everything into the website. So it's a very, very valuable tool. We'll be growing that again in the next coming year. And so we're just super excited to see that JAWS Youth has had this response. I will share that we have had almost 300 votes on this artwork. And that is a phenomenal response. So everyone deserves a round of applause for that. That's fantastic. We appreciate the community support. It's an outstanding effort. And now we'll get to some winners. Congratulations, everyone. Our first award is in Best Creative Expression. And our winner is Kamani Pearson for the Art of Jazz. Let's give her a round of applause. Kamani, are you here tonight? Kamani is not here with us tonight. We have her certificate, and we'll give her award. Thank you so much. Congratulations, Kamani. And we'll go to our next award, which is Best Jazz-Themed Work. Best Jazz-Themed Work. Now, I'm not sure if y'all have taken a peek at the gallery yet, but there's some pretty incredible jazz-themed work on that third floor. So I know this one was really hard to do. But our winner is Mariah Leggins, from whose piece Freedom, that is misspelled, I'm sorry. Mariah Leggins, her piece Freedom. Is Mariah here with us tonight? Let's give her a round of applause. Congratulations to Mariah. And now we have our final award, which is Best of Show. This is our top award, our top prize for the entire JAWS Youth Collection. It's always hard because there's so many great works. Katie and I were talking about it just makes it harder for everybody. When you see so much good stuff, it's really, really an awesome opportunity. So, Best of Show 2024 is Ryan Jackson, who did not title his piece, but we are going to say congratulations, Ryan Jackson, on your piece for JAWS Youth 2024. And that is our presentation. We give you this certificate. Thank you so much. So our winners are not here with us tonight. That is fine. We celebrate anyway. We appreciate everyone's attendance tonight. And now we will drop right into a free concert presented by the one and only Excelsior Brass Band. Hosea London, feel free to take it away. Excelsior Band.
We want to thank you for clapping for that first song, but that was not the beginning of the program. That was a kind of warm up to the program, but thank you anyway. So tonight we won't just have entertainment, we will have education. So I will name the tune. You can easily find it here. Google it. Because where we're going back to the 20s and the 30s. And I promise you, you won't know these tunes. And I'm working with the band members on those too, because that's the only way we keep our tradition. We can't keep it unless somebody knows it and can pass it on to somebody else. If you don't know it, you can't pass it on to nobody. So we're gonna start with an Irving Berlin tune. If you don't know who Irving Berlin, you can Google that too. So this is called Alexander's Ragtime Band. I'm gonna give you a minute to find it on your phone because I'm gonna have it on mine. want to hand these to me whenever I'm ready?
Yes, sir. You can just put it on whenever you want to.
Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. You can sing it. Come on in here, come on in here. It's the best thing in the land. Come on in here, come on in here. Alexander's Ragtime Band. They can play a bugle call like you never heard before. So after that you won't go to war. That's just the bestest thing. What damn? Honey lamb, come on along, come on along. Let me take you by the hand. Up to the man, up to the man, who's the leader of the band. And if you want, here's the 20 river play in ragtime. Come on in here, come on in here. Alexander's Ragtime Band. Come on in here, come on in here. Alexander's Ragtime Band. Come on in here, come on in here. It's the best band in the land. They can play a bugle call like you never heard before. So after that you won't go to war. That's just the bestest band. What damn? Honey lamb, come on along, come on along. Let me take you by the hand. Up to the man, who's the leader of the band. And if you want to hear the Swanee River play in ragtime, come on here, come on in here. Alexander's Ragtime Band, blow. How many people ever heard of that? Oh. More than I thought. So, that means we have quite a few singers, because that goes like way back. Like I said, I think that might have been like the 20s or the 30s. But that's pretty much what the Excelsior Band does. You know, we're not really a Mardi Gras second line band. You know, we are a traditional jazz band. So you hear things from the Excelsior Band that you possibly will not hear anywhere at any time, because our mission is to make sure that we keep this tradition. And people who are from Mobile, you know, Mobile loves tradition. They love things to be just like they were. So now we're gonna do a Mardi Gras medley, since most people kind of relate that to the Excelsior Band. So we're gonna do that. But we're gonna come back and we're gonna do some standards that I know a lot of people know, and I know a lot of people on there, especially young people. So that's what's happening. Because if we don't teach it to them, if we don't pass it down to them, then like everything else, it just dies. It doesn't take long to lose a tradition.
Stop right. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
I'll tell the world I love you, don't forget your promise to me. For I have both a home, a ring, and everything from Margie. You are my inspiration, days are never blue. After all is said and done, there's really only one. Oh, Margie, Margie, it's you. Oh, Margie, I'm always thinking of you, Margie. I'll tell the world I love you, don't forget your promise to me. For I have both a home, a ring, and everything from Margie. You are my inspiration, days are never blue. After all is said and done, there's really only one. Oh, Margie, Margie, it's you. Some glad morning when this life is over, I'll away to that home, not to let the shores I'll fly away. I'm telling you I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, bye bye. hallelujah, I'll fly away.
So that was kind of a Mardi Gras medley. So when you come in the Excelsior Band, you know, it's not easy. You know, we come to work. Even though it's entertaining, you know, we come to work. I think Willie told me we had like 45 minutes. I'm like, we never done that for 45 minutes. We come to work. So anytime you hire the band, the good thing about it is that when people hire the Excelsior Band, you don't have to wonder. You don't have to say, well, I wonder what they're gonna do. I wonder what they're gonna play. We've been doing this has been going on for 141 years. So if by now you don't know what the Excelsior Band does, then you know you just never know. we come with tradition. When you want to bounce around and do a second line or do something like that, there are 100 other bands you can hire. You can't hire another band to do this.
Amen.
So, and we take a lot of pride in that. I still got some younger guys, you know, they're like, if you're like 50 in the Excelsior Band, you consider to be young. Yeah, guys like get in and they just stay in forever. So I want to do Moon Glow, which is a very basically romantic song. How many people have heard Moon Glow? Okay. Good. So I can teach it to you. You can listen to it. Google it. Google Moon Glow lyrics. Like them. One, two.
business I want to make sure to take care of before Excelsior Band wraps up. We are in celebration tonight, and that means that we have certificates for every single one of our participants. On the third floor, we will have a reception, and I guess it's been long enough now. I need to slide in. Thank you. I guess it's been long enough now. And upstairs on the third floor, we have a pizza party for everyone that's joined us tonight. So we'll let the Excelsior Band do their thing. You'll get a chance to meet these gentlemen in person and get photographs and autographs. And we thank everyone for being here tonight. Hosea London, take it away.
Tennessee waltz. It's actually a waltz that we kind of turned into a swing, which is, but if you get a chance to listen to it, it's a beautiful song.
It is.
Yeah. These are things you won't hear on the radio. You're not gonna hear them on the radio. You're not gonna hear them. You don't make an effort to hear them. Then you'll never hear it. So it sounded like Willie was after trying to put us out. So if you sit here, here you come. He said one more.
I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Let's thank the Excelsior Band for their awesome contribution. Throughout the gallery upstairs, you're going to see folks in these t-shirts here. These are t-shirts for people on the Jaws Fest team. And of course, some people may have also bought some t-shirts. So, Sarah in the back, wave your hand. We have some other team members, I think some other people are upstairs. But there are going to be some fun and games for you to enjoy upstairs, pizza and great activities. So please enjoy yourselves, and we appreciate your feedback. There's some feedback forms upstairs. You can let us know how we did tonight. So thank you everyone for coming. Please make your way to the elevators and enjoy our reception tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you.